Today on Mid-Missouri Art News, we visit with artist Maren Schenenwark of Kill Camp, Missouri, who will be sharing her long life as an artist. Welcome to JCTV, Mid-Missouri Art News, coming to you from Jefferson City, Missouri studios, JCTV. Today we visit with Maren Schenenwark of Kill Camp, Missouri. I'm your host, Rick Jey. And if you will, turn with me as we visit with and welcome Maren Schenenwark. Welcome to the show, Maren.
I'm glad to be here.
Thank you very much. Well, we want to start off and learning a lot about Maren. So many people in mid-Missouri and all over know of your artwork, and so we want to learn as much about the person and view the artwork today that you'll be sharing with us. If I may call you by your first name, Maren, please share with us a little bit about Maren Schenenwark. I know you said you was born in Alaska, so give us a little background as let the people know exactly what makes you such an interesting person, and people want to know more and more about you.
Yes. Well, to begin with, my dad and uncle left Norway and came to Alaska, where he met my mother, who's Russian. And she comes from a long line of Russian fur traders that wound up in Alaska. But then I was, they married and I was born in Anchorage and raised there. My uncle was a well-known artist. His pictures have been owned by the King of Norway and President Eisenhower. He wound up being the head of the California Art Club later on.
And what was his name?
Paul Lauritz, Lauritz, which is my maiden name. I was born 1925.
I see.
Which gives me away.
Yes. Well, my mother was born in 1925.
You know, I'm old enough to be your mom.
Yes, I tell you. So then, so your grandfather was a well-known artist?
Yes, he was very well known. And a lot of movie stars collected his paintings because later on he left Alaska and went to Hollywood, California.
I see.
And so he was well acquainted with many movie stars and the Hollywood scene. And as I say, he was president of the California Art Club for many years.
Oh, I see. Uh-huh.
And that was his profession.
Well, we're going to try to add quite a few photos of your artwork and any other artwork you'd like to share with the viewers as we're talking. So then you had extensive travel throughout the world. Can you tell us about that? And then tell us how you met your loving husband.
Oh, well, my mother sent me to boarding school in the state of Washington during my 4 high school years and 1 year of college. And, she passed away, so I became, and my dad died too, so I was pretty much on my own, a free spirit. So I traveled. I went to Nevada and I went to San Francisco. And then I worked for a company after World War II, and they had military contracts
I see.
in Guam, Mariana Islands, and working for the personnel manager, I went over there for a year. So that gave me the end to travel.
Oh, I see. And that's extensive travel, I understand.
Yeah, and then a year or two after that, I had a chance to go to Arabia. So they asked if I could leave the following week, and I said sure.
Free spirit. And you still appear to most people as a free spirit.
I am. So that was wonderful. I wound up staying in Arabia and marrying a man who worked in the aviation department for Aramco. They had their own airplanes.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So we had a chance to travel all over the world during those 25 years. And we did. We really saw a lot of the world.
Well, you've seen the Taj Mahal.
I've seen the Taj Mahal and the pyramids, the Leaning Tower of Pisa, and Venice, Germany, England, Europe. And we traveled the other direction as well. I spent time in India several times, both near the Himalayas and in Kashmir, which is a very beautiful place, and as well as the southern part of India and Ceylon. And I've been in Bangkok and Hong Kong, Japan, and the different islands.
As in China, maybe? Korea?
Well, Hong Kong.
Hong Kong,
See,
yes.
that was separate from Red China.
Yes, it
You
was.
could not
I
go to
remember
Red China.
visiting Hong Kong in my time, 18 months, in living in Japan, so I can identify a lot with the Southeast Asia. Now, we have your home is full of memories and artifacts of your travels.
It is.
We're going to take photos of those and put them on the timeline. Like the painting, or the piece right behind us is from Japan.
It is.
It's a beautiful piece, and we're going to see more of those and share those pictures, photos with the viewers. Your life is full still of excitement, as we will visit your studio here in a few moments after the break. And I understand your free spirit takes you onto an ATV once in a while.
Oh, it does. I live on these 18 acres of woodland, and I have trails and ride the ATV around the trails and wherever I want to go.
Excellent. We're going to get some footage of that in one of your finer, happier, free spirit moments. That's going to be great. Well, we will develop, take some of those photos. I would like to ask then, from your heart, can you go back and tell us the moment you actually felt inspired to become an artist, or at least attempt to start your art career at an early age?
Well, yes. Having an uncle, and my dad also painted, I assumed that I, too, could do it. And I just started painting. My uncle gave me some paints and told me to go ahead and paint.
Oh, excellent.
So I painted, first of all, some closet doors.
Oh, I see.
And after that, I'd paint on paper or pieces of canvas as I could come across them. And I just started out on my own.
Well, excellent.
And later on, when I was in Arabia, I was a member of the Dahran art group. And so we had some teachers. And I learned a lot from the members of that art club.
I see. Well, now, you know, in Japan, in China, in Korea, in India, in Egypt, the art style, or should we say, is totally different in each country. And that's what I enjoyed learning also in Japan especially. A lot of my artwork, I try to take a little bit of that experience and show in my artwork too. So you've gathered up all these years and your travels a little bit of a technique or instruction at different locations. I've been looking for Maren for the last, I'd say, 8 years as I travel throughout Missouri on my other work. And people knowing of my artwork and interest in art, so they have asked me to interview her at least 6-7 years ago. And finally, I ran into Maren at the Sedalia Visual Arts Association meeting, and here we are at her home. And so it's just great. Now, I was talking about the Sedalia Visual Arts Association. What does that mean to you?
Oh, it's meant so much to me. I became a member. Well, first of all, I took some college courses in art at State Fair College in Sedalia.
Yes.
And immediately became a member of the Sedalia Visual Art Group. And they've been wonderful. I was the secretary of that group for 7 years. And I was on some of the committees that formed the Dom Museum. And I studied with Dennis Yates on my own. He was a very well-known painter in the Lake of the Ozarks area.
Yes.
Do you know of Dennis
Yes,
Yates?
Dennis, yes.
Yes, and I have many of his pictures, but I studied with Dennis for, probably 7 years. I'd go down to the lake to his studio. And I learned a lot from Dennis, who's a marvelous painter. And
so it has been, I've become a member in the last couple of years, and again, it's a very professional. The SVAA is the Artist Association that brings you could say, the State Fair, Missouri State Fair Arts, a fine arts show, the top 50, and other artists. So again, I find it most professional, and really a great group when you get together with fellow artists.
I was the assistant manager of the State Fair art department for 6 or 7 years.
Oh, excellent. Well, it's a great interview. Maren, we must take a break, so hang loose for a few seconds. When we come back, Maren shares more with us on her process and the completion of a project, and we'll talk about some of her favorite pieces and even witness her riding her ATV around these beautiful woods that encompass a beautiful lake here in the backyard. An excellent spot. So stay with us. We'll be right back after these messages.
Please, stand back, sir. We're just dumping a little excess sewage here. I hope those shoes aren't new. Oh, God.
Welcome back, everyone, as we return to time with Maren Schenenwark in her studios here in or close to Cold Cap, Missouri. We're going to interrupt for just a moment as we continue to ask questions. Maren, I see you're very busy there, but gosh, welcome back as we share more here at JCTV. I'm your host, Rick Jey, and fortunate to be spending time with Maren Schenenwark this morning. Well, Ms. Schenenwark, you shared a lot in segment 1 and have studied, surely gained the attention of our viewers here on Mid-Missouri Art News by now. Your work is outstanding, and we must learn more from you. So if you talk to the folks back home here, your art experiences has traveled a long path. Can you share with the viewers what that path has been like for you as a well-known and accomplished artist? First, I'd like to say, please explain your types of artwork to viewers.
Well, I consider myself an impressionist. I paint mostly from nature, and I take photographs trees and or look out the window. And well, sometimes I turn the painting upside down and paint upside down.
Sure.
And I have a palette of whatever colors I'm going to use laid out. And right now I was trying to do that picture over again, and because the trees shouldn't have been leaning in one direction, so I will put in branches and other small limbs as I paint. But right now I'm trying to get a background on it and make it colorful.
So what processes do you go through? We're talking now to other artists throughout the world. That was our program. What processes do you go through? Do you start with a sketch?
I do. That I like. But here's a sketch I did from my house looking out the window. And I've indicated, blue shadows since there'll be snow in this picture. I haven't started it yet. I just, but I will. I try to put a background, the sky and the foreground before I put in trees or detail. You have to have a background, but then I indicate on my canvas sort of the direction to go. There's a certain way you have to paint, and you really need to go from corner to corner. So I'll have something here to set this off. And then you go from that corner up here, so I'll have branches that will be in the middle coming this direction. And I've sort of got the background of this now, and it shows a lot of reflection, a lot of color. And I do like color in my paintings. They're very colorful.
I see.
Well, I'm working in oil now, but I do a lot of pastel, mostly pastel and oil now. And I love pastel also, but
Well, you're known for your pastels, I understand.
yeah, but it's harder to frame because you have to put glass over it.
Oh, I see.
And it's easier to get a frame and slap it on an oil painting.
I see. Okay.
But I also paint abstract, and that's another process I'll explain to you later.
Oh.
Well, you'll see abstract paintings all along on the
right.
floor down there. Things I do that's unusual is I collect rocks, slabs of mosarkite, which is the Missouri rock. Every state has a different rock. And I can show you some of the rocks I use. These are some of when I lived in Arabia, one of our things was to go out in the desert and find broken pieces of pottery where old villages had been, or Bedouin had been before. Here are some of the pieces. They like this turquoise color very much. And let's see. This is one of the forms of art that we developed in Arabia. I had a clipper I would cut these pieces with, and fill it in like a jigsaw puzzle. And you can see that I used the bracelet pieces to make my rooster's tail. It's probably the only one of its kind in the world, and there were very few of us who did it. This is the only piece I have left, because I left some of my pieces in Arabia. I painted the prince, one of the princes of Arabia. He came to sit for his portrait, and he liked mine the best, and I gave it to him. So one of my pieces is owned by one of Ibn Saud's sons.
I know that you do exhibit, so can you give us an idea where our viewers can see your work here in the near future, or what planned exhibits are you working to exhibit this year in 2020?
Yes, I'm exhibiting in a couple places right now. I'll be in City Hall in Sedalia from March to July. That's Sedalia, Missouri.
Okay.
I am now in the Liberty Center in Sedalia. It's a program called Trees. I have 2 paintings in there, and that's going on from now until June, I believe. And I have paintings in Clinton, Missouri, a newly opened studio there. I belong to the Columbia Art Club, and I've shown pictures there for many years. The Columbia Art League. And also in Warrensburg. I belong to the Warrensburg Art Club.
Now, all the folks, the viewers know that I am with the Department of Conservation and Nature, the center in the Run Center in Jefferson City, and you've accepted my invitation, should I say?
Yes.
Showing that in May and June. And I'll be choosing a painting from you that you would like to submit for that show.
I will.
May 1st through June 30th. So I'm so excited about you actually being part of that. Thank you for accepting my invitation. And that's about 100 plus people showing there at the Run Center.
Well, I'm honored to be part of that.
Oh, thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Gosh. Well, now, I understand you do commission work.
I do.
And your best contact information is your daughter. Would you, and we'll give that phone number as, would you like to give her name and
yes.
what part she plays in your artwork?
Well, I do not use a computer, but both of my daughters do. And my daughter, Jean Schenenwark, does whatever computer work I need on her computers, including whatever she shows of your work, other interviews that you've had with other members of Sedalia Visual Arts and many other artists.
Well, if I may, Maren, I just want to thank you so much for being part of Mid-Missouri Art News. Thank you for your time, and we look forward to viewing and sharing your contribution today with the viewers worldwide. Rick Jey saying thank you again for tuning in, all the viewers. And our producer, Gloria Enlow and crew at the JCTV studios there in Jefferson City, Missouri. Keep it tuned to JCTV Mid-Missouri Art News and our Spotlight on the Arts. That's on YouTube. I'm Rick Jey saying, see you next time right here on JCTV, Mid-Missouri Art News. Did you have any closing words?
I think I used to paint better before than I do now. But I particularly like this for its simplicity. And of course, trees are one of my favorite subjects. And this is a reproduction, but the original is owned by someone in Texas. And this is an abstract, as you can see. And I pretty much did this one out of my head. It was just letting the oil paint do what it wanted to do. It was just purely imaginary. Although many of my paintings are done from slabs of rock that I get. I've often been written up in the newspapers, and I've owned 2 galleries, or been a part owner of 2 galleries. This is when I received the Star Award. Only 2 people have gotten that, and I was very honored to get that, since only Barbara Cooney and I have gotten the Star Award. And here are some of the write-ups. I believe this was abstract art. And that's, this tells about my own gallery here, which I call the Overland Trail Gallery.